Good afternoon, Miss Bridgewater. Hope you're doing well.
I am, Your Honor. I hope you are too. Look, I have one message for you. Are you coming in tomorrow?
I don't believe so.
Okay, we just needed to know for the sake of the courtroom.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'll say that's a no.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And the SAP reset date?
It's going to be July 29th.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon, courtroom two.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Let's see. I'm ready to give my announcement whenever you all are ready for me.
Yes, sir. We're ready.
Very good. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. If you do not have a private attorney, we're providing you with the assistance of a public defender or a conflict defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. Who do we have first?
First is position 6, Mr. Cadogan.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cadogan. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003985E with criminal trespass. Good afternoon, Ms. Hardy. Is there a history?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Their last arrest was August the 11th, 2013 out of Woodstock for theft by shoplifting. That is their only arrest cycle, nothing further.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Harrison.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. On July 13th, officers responded to the 400 building of Lakeside apartment complex. It's called Harbor Landing in reference to a domestic dispute in progress that was overheard by another resident. While standing at the rear of the building, officers were attempting to determine the location of the argument, and they heard a suitcase slam against a third-story balcony, and then it was picked up down the stairwell, picked up and then thrown again down the stairwell. And then they saw Miss Abigail Jones, the victim in this case, running from the location, avoiding being struck by the suitcase. The suitcase and its contents were estimated to be less than $500 in damages, but officers on the scene recognized the victim, Miss Abigail Jones, from previous responses at the residence due to domestic incidents. They did meet with the defendant at the scene and asked him about the suitcase, and he admitted to throwing Ms. Jones' belongings from the apartment without her consent and told officers that he wanted her to leave the residence just like last time. The state's recommendation, Your Honor, in light of this incident, is $1,000 surety bond. We're asking for no contact with Ms. Abigail Jones, a stay away from her residential location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And we would like to sound for Ms. Jones at this time, Your Honor, and that'll be all for the state.
Miss Abigail Jones is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Miss Jones, good afternoon. If you'll raise your right hand for me, please, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
No.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I am completely fine with, because I mean we live together. I'm completely fine with him coming back to the house. I don't have any issue with continuing to have contact with him at all. So I don't think that that should happen. But I mean, the situation, we were drinking, it was a heated argument. And I wasn't running from the suitcase. He threw the suitcase past me, and I was walking outside to get the suitcase. So I don't know where that was seen. But yeah, I don't want to have no contact. I do still want to have contact with him. I don't feel like threatened or anything of that sort.
Thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am. Who's representing Mr. Cardigan?
I am, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ms. McLeod.
Yes. Your Honor, I would ask the signature bond for my client. This is not a domestic violence situation. They're having an argument. There was no allegation that he touched Miss Jones or anything. And I was able to speak with her earlier. And as she stated, she does want to have contact with my client. He has no significant record and certainly nothing violent in his record. So I believe a signature bond would be appropriate, Your Honor.
Okay, as such, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with Ms. Jones. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
That concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, quick and easy today, Ms. McLeod. Have a good rest of your
Yes,
day.
Your Honor.
Thank you so much.
Next is
You're welcome.
Mr. Brown.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brown. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003971A with driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs, driving while your license was suspended or revoked, possession and use of drug-related objects, and improper or erratic lane change. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, the last arrest was May 20th, 2024 out of DeKalb for theft by conversion. There's 17 total arrest cycles, arrests out of Georgia, South Carolina, and Wisconsin. 2 felony convictions outside of the last 10-year period. There appears to be a hold out of Wisconsin for shoplifting. The date of that warrant is October 31st, 2001. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Falk.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This accident happened on July 11th, 2025 at around 11 p.m. on I-285 northbound. Officers observed a traffic accident where the defendant, who was the driver of a Hyundai, was outside of the vehicle trying to fix the front right tire that got damaged due to an accident that he had with another vehicle who it appears rear-ended him, or who it appears that he rear-ended. The officers approached the defendant. He was having trouble standing still. He smelled the odor of alcoholic beverage on the defendant's breath. He explained to him what was going on. The defendant stated he did not have his driver's license and that he became combative when they started to ask him questions about his license, saying they had no right to question him and he did not need their help. Because he was being combative, he was placed into handcuffs. They did speak with the front passenger, who told the officer they knew the defendant was intoxicated, but the defendant got mad at them and told them he was going to drive and did not allow anyone else to drive. Miss Baker, who was the front passenger, stated that the defendant did cause the accident and hit the truck while he was trying to make a lane change. There was another passenger in the back seat of the vehicle who was identified as Detrick Thomas, and he stated he was asleep and did not know anything. The officers also smelled the odor of drugs. They searched the vehicle and found a clear glass pipe with an unknown substance in it underneath the driver's seat of the vehicle. The defendant was subsequently charged with driving while license suspended. When they were able to run his information, it showed that his license was in fact suspended. Obstruction of a law enforcement officer for refusing to give his name and additional information. They actually had to fingerprint him. Possession of drug-related objects, driving while under the influence less safe. We also added a driving under the influence of combined substances, alcohol, and a drug, and improper lane change. The defendant's bond is currently set at $25,000. The state's main concern here is the fact that the defendant did have two passengers inside the vehicle that could have been seriously hurt due to the defendant's actions. The passenger in particular, who stated the defendant knew he was intoxicated and still refused to allow one of the other two passengers to drive the vehicle and insisted upon doing so. Quite frankly, he's lucky no one died in this accident, and he shouldn't have been driving in the first place because he had a suspended license. We are asking for a $4,000 surety bond, $1,000 per count of DUI, $500 for all of the remaining charges, and no driving without a valid license, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And that's all for the state.
Thank you. Ms. Patton, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Your Honor, we're going to be requesting a lower bond. Mr. Brown is 55 years old. He's currently receiving SSDI and has been for approximately 30 years at this point. So and he also lives with his mother. His mother is older. He does assist in taking care of his daughter. And so we're going to request that the bond be lowered, Your Honor, $25,000 without him having access to his SSDI check. He wouldn't be able to make that bond. And so we'd just be asking that you reduce it substantially so that he'd be able to make it.
Okay. For each of the DUI charges will be $1,000 good bond. For each of the other charges will be a $500 good bond. That makes for a total of a $4,000 good bond. No driving without a valid license. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. And courtroom 2, just so you know, if you don't, Miss Chancey's on the line. So if there's someone who needs a Spanish interpreter, whenever you're ready for me, just let the court know and we'll place them into a breakout room.
Judge, I'm not sure about ACDC, but nobody needs a Spanish interpreter over here.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I was just checking on Mr. Caballero, position 5.
Okay, yeah, he said he doesn't need one.
Say it again.
He said he doesn't need an interpreter.
Perfect.
Okay, very good. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Miss Chancey. We appreciate
You're welcome, sir.
Next is position 7, Mr. Caldwell.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Caldwell. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003972C with 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was July 9th, 2024 out of Clinton, Mississippi for burglary. There's 14 arrest cycles out of Mississippi. There was a felony conviction in 2020 for conspiracy and burglary. There also appears to be a hold out of Jackson, Mississippi for an FTA. And the date of that warrant is November 26, 2024. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on July 13th, 2025. Officers spoke with Miss Janisha Carter, who is the living girlfriend of the defendant. She did state that she was involved in a verbal altercation with the defendant, and the defendant punched her several times in the head and threw her against various pieces of furniture. The defendant has a 2009 simple DV arrest out of Mississippi, as well as a 2024 burglary. He also has an FTA associated with that burglary out of Mississippi. And although this is his first arrest in Georgia, the state has concern about the lack of community ties being that his most recent arrest in Mississippi was July 2024 for burglary and FTA, as well as that 2009 simple DV case that does not show a disposition also in Mississippi. For that reason, the state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond, $1,500 per count, no further contact with Janisha Fantasia. Stay away from 605 Spence Street Northwest in Atlanta. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no firearms. And we are also asking for family violence intervention. We would like to sound from Miss Janisha Fantasia at this time. That's all for the state.
Ms. Fantasia is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Ms. Patton?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Caldwell is 28 years old, and yes, he is from Mississippi. He has been here for the last 6 months. He is currently engaged to her, and I believe they are working on building a family. They are actively trying to become pregnant, and they have been together for the past couple years. So they will, we're going to ask that they at least be able to have contact. They will likely be back together considering they're engaged and trying to become pregnant. He does have ties to the community. He does have a sister who lives here. She lives in the city. And he also has been working at the Churches on Lee Street for the past 2.5 months. So he does have ties to the community, Your Honor, and is willing to answer for this case. And we just ask that the bond be reduced. He just paid bills. He's working at the Churches. And so he's not going to have a lot of extra money to be able to pay that bond. So we just ask that it be reduced, Your Honor.
Okay, for each charge will be a $1,500 good bond, makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. 2 days of anger awareness. At this time, no further contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from her residential address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Caldwell.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Welcome.
Next, our positions 9 and 10, Mr. Combs.
Good afternoon, Mr. Combs. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003965E with criminal trespass and in case 25 CR 003966E with criminal trespass, theft by shoplifting, and simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was July the 4th, 2025, out of Atlanta for theft by shoplifting and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. The case is open under 25 CR 008743. There are 7 total arrest cycles in Georgia. There was a misdemeanor conviction in 2022 for criminal trespass. Nothing further to report.
Paul?
Yes, Your Honor. Pretrial, can you give me that case number again?
25.
Go ahead, Ms. Hardy.
25 CR 008743.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Your Honor, in this case, the defendant there's 2 cases on the charge of just criminal trespass. On June 8th, 2025, the defendant entered the Ponce City Market at 675 Ponce de Leon Avenue at approximately 7:30 p.m. He had been previously trespassed at that location on September 24th of 2024 and June 3rd of 2025, 5 days before this incident, and asked to stay away from the property. The defendant was then, when they were trying to take him into custody, the security officers, when they confronted him about trespassing, he stated he would put them in the ground. He also has a ban for disturbing the peace, which he did sign on September 24th of 2024. The officers then tried to approach him. When they approached him, he fled immediately on a skateboard. He was yelling obscenities to the officer, and so they took out a Fulton County warrant for his arrest. On the second case, that happened at the Kroger, which is at 675 Ponce de Leon Avenue. That incident happened where the defendant had gone onto that property on July 3rd of 2025 and attempted to take a number of drinks as well as some pistachios. When Mr. Klein, who was the store employee, tried to stop him at that location, the defendant threw one of the drinks at him, striking him in the chest, and then fled the location. The defendant had been previously criminally trespassed from that location on August 9th, 2024, and then had been given a second criminal trespass on April 18th of 2025 before this incident had occurred. We are currently reviewing this person for MMHC, Your Honor. I just wanted to let the court know that. In the meantime, we are asking for a $500 surety bond on the criminal trespass. Stay away from Ponce City Market, located at 675 Ponce de Leon Avenue. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. On the other case, the criminal trespass, simple battery, and theft by shoplifting, there is a $3,000 preset bond. We are asking that remain a set, $1,000 on each charge. Stay away from the Kroger, located at 725 Ponce de Leon Avenue, Atlanta. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And we're also asking for no further contact with Sean Klein, Klein. We do note that he had 2 FTAs in the last 5 years and 1 theft by shoplifting in municipal court in 2024, which is the basis for our request. And we do ask to sound for Mr. Sean Klein at this time. That's all for the state.
Were you able to pull up that criminal theft by shoplifting that's open, Ms. Falk, and tell me about the bond on that matter?
Your Honor, that's what I was trying to figure out. I think that's out of municipal court, but because I couldn't pull it up under that CR number, but I know municipal court also uses CR numbers. And so I suspect that this may be a case out of municipal court, because when I pulled up his history, and that's why I asked pre-trial to give me that information again, I did not see an open case for him for any other offenses. But let me just check the municipal court record and see if there's anything there.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. McLean. Is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Good afternoon. If he's a candidate for that court, it would certainly be appropriate for him to have a social worker visit to help prepare for trying to get into that court. We would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond in this situation. Your Honor, we have high school education in 2014 or 2019. I think 2014. I think my handwriting looks like a 4 there. Your Honor, he's a creative director and audio engineer, and he's also worked in restaurant work in the last 5 years.
Ponce City Market.
So
that's my old job. Ponce City Market's my old job.
Right. And so we would ask the court to consider the appropriate bond. Thank you.
And Your Honor, I was able to locate the information. He actually has 2 cases out of municipal court. The one that was given by pretrial, that case is still open. The offense date on that is April 26th of 2025. The other case he had was more recent. It was a July 3rd, 2025 possession of marijuana theft by shoplifting case. And then he had an April 26, 2025 possession of marijuana case. So he has 2 cases, one ending in 8743, one ending in 5617. The one ending in 8743, he entered a NOLO plea to the theft by shoplifting and a NOLO to the possession of marijuana less than an ounce on July 8th of 2025. And I am not seeing what the sentence was on that case. It just says NOLO, jail time suspended, plea of NOLO, and it doesn't tell me where the incident even occurred.
I'm not glad.
Thank you, Ms. Falk. For position number 9, the criminal trespass will be a $500 good bond. Stay away from Ponce City Market. Social worker visit to assess for mental health, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons. On position number 10, for each charge will be a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $1,500 good bond. No further contact with Sean Klein. stay away from the Kroger on Ponce de Leon Avenue, social worker visit, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons. Good luck to you, Mr. Combs.
Next is position 16, Mr. Jones.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jones. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003975A with battery and simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was January the 11th, 2022, out of Spokane, Washington, for assault and malicious mischief. There are 48 arrest cycles total, arrests out of Washington, New Jersey, and Oregon. There are 6 felony convictions outside of the last 10-year period. There's a 2015 felony conviction for prisoner possession of drugs in a state institution. A 2016 no contact protection order violation. 2018 criminal mischief with a deadly weapon. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On April 12th, 2024, officers were at Ellis Street and Peachtree Street when they observed an altercation take place. Specifically at 180 Peachtree Street, officers heard a male fall to the ground, and then they observed him get up and get in position to fight another male. They detained them both, and the victim, Mr. Muhammad Brown, explained that he was walking south on Peachtree Street when the defendant suddenly hit him in the head. When officers spoke to the defendant, he stated, Mr. Brown also told officers he did not know the defendant and they had no prior words before him being struck. When officers spoke to the defendant, he stated that he was walking south on Peachtree Street and he felt that the victim, Mr. Brown, was walking too close to him, making him feel some type of way, so he hit him for being too close. The state's recommendation, Your Honor, in light of the defendant's prior criminal history, including his open cases for violent crimes. The state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 for each count, and no contact with Mr. Muhammad Brown, completion of an anger awareness course, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. That'll be all for the state, and we'll sound for Mr. Brown at this time.
Mr. Muhammad Brown is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Mr. Jones is 36. He has a stable address in East Point with an apartment number. He's got an emergency contact, which is reachable. He did electrical work at Tech College. He's got certifications in the technical area. He's been a chef for over 10 years. He's also worked as a construction foreman. We would ask the court to consider that he is pretty Georgia. We would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond, including a signature bond, if that is possible.
For each charge will be $1,000 good bonds, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Mr. Brown. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Jones.
Next is position 18, Mr. Miller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Miller. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003977Y with battery, family violence, and simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was July 4th, 2023, out of Fulton County for theft by receiving. That's their only arrest cycle. That case is still open under 24 SC 006152. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. Officers responded to a dispute at 876 Washington Street, Southwest Apartment 5. They met with Miss Miller, Miss Destiny Miller there. She's the victim in this case. She informed officers as they arrived on scene and noticed a visible swelling to her eye, that she was punched in her left eye by her brother, who is the defendant. She informed officers that they lived together at this location, and the altercation arose from a dispute over the internet box issue. Um, the altercation ensued, and she retreated to her bedroom and locked the door. And her brother unlocked the door from the exterior, entered the bedroom, and began punching her, causing the swelling to her eye. We did speak to the victim, Ms. Miller, today. She stated that this is her brother. They do live together at the incident location. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She did inform us that this is not his first time being violent, but it's the first time it was this bad. She wishes to have no further contact with him at all and wants him to stay away from the residence. That being so, the state's recommendation is a $1,500 surety bond, no contact with Miss Destiny Miller, a stay away from 876 Washington Street, with the exception of a one-time law enforcement escort for retrieval of belongings. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And completion also, Your Honor, of an anger awareness course. And that'll be all for the state. We'll sound for Ms. Miller at this time.
If Miss Destiny Miller is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Miller has a stable address in Atlanta, in an apartment complex. I do need to check to see if that is the instant location or not, but it may not be. Your Honor, he has a 12th grade education. He's got certifications in OSHA, safety training, forklift driving, and other trade certifications in the construction area. He's been involved in commercial construction for years, and he's also had work as a cook. We would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond under these circumstances, including a signature bond, if that is possible.
For the battery will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the simple battery, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 2 days of anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Miller, stay away from the Washington Street residence. He can go back to that residence on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Miller.
Next, position 2, Mr. Brooks.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. You've been charged in case 25 CR 003968E with 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was August 1st, 2022 out of River Beach, Florida for a traffic violation. They have 10 arrest cycles out of Florida. There was a felony conviction in 2004 for burglary, 1999 misdemeanor conviction for a resisting officer without violence. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. Officers were called out on July 12th, 2025 to 265 Peachtree Street in Atlanta. They spoke with Miss Tiana Brooks, who stated her father, the defendant, was heavily intoxicated and struck her. And due to that, she called 911. Officers also were advised that the defendant struck Natasha Brooks, his wife and the mother of Tiana Brooks. They are actually, it does not appear they are married, nor that Mr. Brooks' last name is actually Mr. Brooks. The officers were then taken to the floor where the incident occurred. They were advised by Natasha Brooks that the defendant struck Tiana Brooks in the face and Natasha Brooks in the back. They were told that both of them were struck one time with a closed fist, and then Moses Brooks had to physically restrain his father, Rodney Brooks. The officers were also told by Miss Tiana Brooks that the defendant was lying in bed, still visibly drunk. The officers approached the defendant, who was asleep, and they took him into custody for family violence. We did have an opportunity to speak with Miss Brooks. She stated that she and the defendant are in a relationship. They live together in Florida and they share a child. They were living in Florida and were visiting Georgia for a conference. And they were staying at that incident location, and he began arguing with their 14-year-old daughter, Tiana, put his finger in her face. She smacked his hand, knocking the food out of his hand. He then began yelling and hitting her, and then began calling her out of her name and hit her. And she stated this is not the first time the defendant has been violent toward her, but this is the first time he has been violent toward Miss Tiana Brooks. And he stated the defendant acts this way when he drinks. Miss Brooks stated she is okay with no violent contact, but wants him to stay away from their residence. She stated she would try to be on the Zoom today. We are showing, as you have stated, that there were 10 arrests in Florida, that the last arrest was in August of 2022, and one cycle in Georgia. Due to the events in this case, Your Honor, we are asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no further violent contact with Natasha or Tiana Brooks, no firearms, stay away from the victim's residence at 1943 Gardenia Court in Riviera Beach, Florida. We are also asking for random drug screens and 2-day anger awareness. We were able to receive some jail calls where the Miss Brooks did talk to the defendant and told him that he doesn't know how to sit down and not put his hands on women, and that he acts crazy when he drinks, and also stated that what he did to Tiana wasn't right and that he lets the alcohol take control of him. He also stated that he was surprised that they did that to him, and she returned that she was surprised that they did this to us, and that they were violent with him. That's all for the state. We would like to, at this time, sound from Miss Tiana Brooks if she is available. But as I said, Your Honor, it looks like there is a history of violence here, as evinced by the jail calls and what Miss Brooks told the police, where the defendant is striking Miss Brooks, and now has taken his anger out on his daughter as well. So we are gravely concerned for that, which is why we're asking for that surety bond, as well as the complete lack of any ties with this community.
Thank you. Ms. Tiana Brooks is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. If so, I'll need for you to come on camera, unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. Okay, Ms. Patton?
Yes, Your Honor. We are going to be requesting a signature bond in this case. Yes, he does have a history in Florida, but at this point, he was here for a conference. He does not have any ties here. He doesn't have access to money or bank accounts. His family has now gone off to Florida, and he's going to have to make arrangements to return home. He obviously has cases, so he will answer for them. So we just ask that he receive a signature bond or the lowest possible bond in the alternative. He does have employment. He's been working at the Publix in Florida for 2 years. And they share children, Your Honor. They've been together for almost 30 years. I think he said it was 28 or 29 years. They're likely to reconcile. So I just asked for a signature bond so that he can return home. They can move forward, start rebuilding the bond between their families, and get on with their lives, Your Honor.
Okay, for each charge will be $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further violent contact with either Tiana or Natasha Brooks. Stay away from their residential addresses. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Welcome.
Next is add-on 1. Ms. Lopez. She's in courtroom 3.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Lopez. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003986G with simple assault, family violence, and reckless conduct. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This is the first arrest.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. If you'll just give me a moment, I was putting in the last of the information on the previous case. Okay, Your Honor, this defendant is charged with simple assault, family violence, as well as reckless conduct. This incident occurred on July 9th of 2025 at 680 Hamilton Avenue in Atlanta. Officers responded to that location and spoke with Miss Faya Wynn. She stated that she and her ex-girlfriend, the defendant, had been cohabitating at that location since February 2025. They are both on the lease agreement and that they live together and occupy separate bedrooms. She stated that the defendant became aggressive after observing that Miss Wynn had brought another female guest into the home. She then tried to enter Miss Wynn's room to confront the guest. Miss Wynn physically restrained Miss Lopez and removed her from the room before locking the door. And then Miss Wynn stated she heard what sounded like a firearm slide being racked, followed by Miss Lopez, the defendant, striking the bedroom door with a firearm, causing a visible damage, which was a hole to that door. Officers then spoke with the defendant, who admitted to being upset seeing her ex-girlfriend with someone else. She stated she asked the Miss Wynn to have the guest leave the apartment, and the bedroom door was then closed on her. She stated she retrieved her firearm and struck the door out of frustration, which resulted in the damage. So she did admit to taking her firearm and using it to hit the door, resulting in damage to the door. The state's main concern here, Your Honor, is the fact that this happened within the last week, and additionally, the fact that the defendant is a law enforcement officer. She's actually a recruit with the Atlanta Police Department. The state's main concern there is, one, she has access to firearms and is behaving in this manner, and two, she is using a firearm in an incredibly irresponsible way, which is something that I would not expect any law enforcement officer to be doing, especially in a heated argument. We did have an opportunity to speak with Miss Wynn. She stated she and the defendant are no longer in a relationship, but they still live together. She also confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated that the gun did put a hole through the door. Nothing like this has ever happened before. She had left the residence to stay at various places since this incident, and she just returned back today. She stated that the defendant did reach out to her and to apologize and was remorseful. And because of that, she does want to continue contact. However, the state has some really serious concerns based on this person's behavior, based on the fact that they have access to firearms, about the Miss Wynn's safety. The state is requesting a $10,000 surety bond, $5,000 on each charge, no further contact with Faya Wynn, stay away from 680 Hamilton Avenue in Atlanta, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no firearms, and 3 days of anger awareness. We would at this time like to sound for Faya Wynn, and that's all for the state.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Wynn. If you'll raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
I just want to say, Alina is not a bad person at all. It maybe was out of frustration, but she has never acted like this ever. So I don't know, maybe she was probably overwhelmed, but I don't want anything bad to happen to her. The point of calling them was to pretty much have her calm down, but it was never to go as far as charges being pushed on her. We've known each other for years, and so I've never seen her act like this. So, like I said, I don't foresee this ever happening again, but she's not a bad person at all. And so I don't want anything over the top to happen to her at all, under any circumstances, if possible.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Wynn.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, listening to the state's presentation, I do understand their point about the perceived danger from their viewpoint. I do get that, but nonetheless, it is a first arrest. It is the situation of remorse. Your Honor has just heard from the alleged victim. I would think we would certainly be asking for a signature bond with appropriate conditions. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. Anger awareness, anger management courses. But I think a signature bond is in order. Thank you. Oh, by the way, she's local and young. Thank you.
Okay. For each charge will be a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 5 days of anger awareness. At this time, I don't think it's good for Ms. Lopez and Ms. Nguyen to be around one another. So no further contact at this point. She is to stay away from the 680 Hamilton Avenue address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. The exception is that if she requires a firearm to be on duty with her job, I'll allow her to have a firearm while she's at work. Good luck to you both.
Thank you. Have a great
Do
And
the
Your
same,
Honor, the
ma'am.
state would object to the defendant having a firearm while at work. I'm not sure how that would even work with her. The state would object because this is an incident that involved a firearm. The state would strongly object to her having a firearm at all during this period of time.
Thank you, Mr. Falk. I'll note your objection. I just don't want her to lose her employment as a result of this. And if she requires a firearm for that employment, I'll allow her to have one while she's on duty in her official capacity. All right, y'all take care.
Thank you.
Next is position 5, Caballero.
Good afternoon, Mr. Caballero. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003984F with 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
No, Your Honor, no history to report at this time.
Okay, Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on July 13th of 2025. Your Honor will just give me a moment. And this incident occurred between the defendant as well as Miss Romero. First name is Stephanie Romero. The officers went to 218 Harper Road Southeast, spoke with Miss Romero. She stated the argument began over their vehicles. During the dispute, it escalated from verbal to physical when the defendant seized her arm. She stated she swung at him when he grabbed her forcefully by the arm. He then placed his hands around her neck and began to choke her. She did say she did not lose consciousness, but expressed fear due to the look in his eyes and managed to kick her husband away from her. She then called 911, which resulted in law enforcement arriving at the scene. The defendant did acknowledge that he had physically engaged Miss Romero. He stated he grabbed her arm, and when she swung at him, he grasped her neck in an attempt to prevent her from striking him further. The defendant was placed under arrest as a result of this. We did have an opportunity to speak with Miss Romero. She did tell our office that they are married, they live together at the location and share no children. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated she was lying on the bed and the defendant was on top of her with both hands around her neck. She cannot recall how hard the pressure was, but she did begin gagging and coughing, and it was at that point the defendant let go. She said she thinks it lasted up to 10 seconds. And she stated that he has never been violent with her in the past. We also, in this case, Your Honor, had an opportunity to receive the jail calls. And in those calls, the defendant asks Miss Romero if she is okay. And she tells him, my arm has your handprint on it. He asked, how's your neck? And she said, you're lucky for you. There's no bruises there. And that she has been throwing up, crying, her throat hurts. and that she feels like she's going crazy due to this incident. The state's concern here is, one, the recency of the incident, the fact that it happened yesterday. Two, the fact that there was strangulation involved, which I'm sure, as Your Honor knows, is one of the highest lethality factors other than firearms in a family violence situation. For those reasons, the state is asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with Stephanie Romero, stay away from 218 Harper Road Southeast in Atlanta, 3 days of anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no firearms. Again, our main concern is the nature of the incident, the fact that it did result in strangulation, and the defendant even goes so far on the jail call to apologize, showing his culpability, as well as admitting to police that he had grabbed her by the arm and her neck, and clearly grabbed her hard enough to leave marks on her arm, which does concern the state. We would at this time like to sound for Stephanie Romero, and that's all for the state.
Ms. Romero, if you'd like to address the court, I need for you to raise your right hand for me, please, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
I would first like to address the jail calls. I am naturally an extremely sarcastic person. It's how I deal with stuff. So when I said lucky for you, it was like me just trying to alleviate my own mood. I think the reason why I said I've been going crazy with anxiety as well is because me and Christopher, today's our 6-year anniversary. He has never been violent towards me in the past. This was a first-time incident, and I understand the extremities of strangulation. And I think that's why I'm so anxiously riddled by the situation. But I would just like to explain, like, he's never been aggressive towards me in the past 6 years. I understand the stay away order. I understand that it's for my own protection. I fully respect that. But I would just like to say, like, I understand that this is very serious, but I've talked to his family, friends, and he has a community around him that's ready to support through therapy, both of us, to take the further steps necessary. Um, I I don't know if it's my place to ask about his bond, but I had surgery at the beginning of May and he didn't work because he had to take care of me. I was bedridden for 8 weeks. Um, we truthfully probably can't afford that bond. He just started a new job this month, at the end of last month, sorry. So I don't know if it's my place to ask if that can be lowered, but he has no history of violence or aggression. I understand the severity towards me. I studied psychology in college. I told the officers, like, I understand strangulation, what the statistics are, but truthfully, he didn't work for 2 months. I didn't work for 2 months. If there's anything we can do, I've talked to his mom. We have a strong community around us in the transition of whatever is to happen to us next. Like I said, we just celebrated our wedding anniversary last month, 3 years, and our anniversary is today, 6 years. And I don't know what happened that night. It was insane. The behavior is not the Christopher that I know at all. And yeah, I don't know what else to say other than that wasn't my husband that night. He's never been like this whatsoever. I can attest to that. I think one of his friends is on the call listening. Like, it's not who he is. So I guess
Okay,
that's
so
it.
thank you for being here, Ms. Romero. I'm going to order that he's not to have any further contact with you at the present time. So he has someplace else that he can go in the meantime.
Yes, sir. His mom lives within the area, and we've talked, and she even agreed that until we can figure out the situation therapy wise, legally wise, that it would be best for him to stay at her home.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Romero. We
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
You're welcome. Ms. Patton?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, I think I echo the sentiments of Miss Romero. He doesn't have a history and he would not be able to afford a bond. Like she said, he just started working. He'd been out of work for months prior to that. So we'd request a signature bond. It sounds like the family is there to support any classes that he would, he'd be required to take as a condition of a pretrial, as a pretrial condition. Like she said, he can go to his mom's house. They've been together for a few years and they've been married for 3 years. So I think the period of time of them resolving the case, him having to stay away would be fine. Any courses through pretrial. But we would request you grant a signature bond in this case, Your Honor.
Okay, for each charge will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 3 days of anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Romero, stay away from the Harper Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Welcome.
Next is position 12, Mr. Green.
Good afternoon, Mr. Green. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003963J with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, Your Honor. The last arrest was October 10th, 2024 out of Coweta County for a probation violation. They have 45 arrest cycles out of Georgia. There are 7 felony convictions outside of the last 10-year period. Out of those 7, 4 of those are for burglary. There's a 2020 burglary. Appears to be a hold out of Noonan for a probation violation. The date of that is November 14th, 2024. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison, is this your case? Position 12. You are mute there if you're talking to me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, Your Honor, that's Deputy Falk's case, position 12. But we might need to come back for it.
No, we don't. I apologize. I had to take another call. We are asking for a $500 surety bond. The bond is currently set out a $1,000 surety bond. The defendant entered the Texaco located at 2067 Deloe Drive in Atlanta in violation of a criminal trespass order to stay away from that location. As you've heard, the defendant does have 46 cycles. We are agreeable to that bond being reduced from $1,000 to a $500 surety bond with a stay away from Texaco at 2067 Deloe Drive in Atlanta. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We are also requesting that the defendant have a social worker visit for any either MH issues or housing issues at this time. That's all for the state.
Thank you. Ms. Patton?
Yes, Your Honor. We're going to be requesting a signature bond. Mr. Green is 67 years old. He's unhoused and has been for a very long time. So there is no bond that he'd be able to pay. Mr. Green is willing to enter a program and receive help. So we would ask that he be released on a signature bonds so that we can attempt in this office to get him assistance through some program in the near future.
Okay, Ms. Patton, if you can get him into a program, I'm happy to consider down the road a signature bond if at the SAP calendar or if once you have a social worker visit with him. But at the present time, it'll be a $500 good bond. Stay away from that Texaco on Deloe Drive, the social worker visit, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor.
okay, thank you.
Next is position 13, Mr. Greer.
Good afternoon, Mr. Greer. You have been charged in case 25CR003962E with 3 counts of criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, Your Honor, their last arrest was March 2nd, 2023, out of Troup County for simple battery family violence. That's their only arrest cycle, nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred at the home of the defendant's ex-girlfriend. Her name is, defendant's ex-boyfriend, Ian Reese. This occurred at 4001 Lakemont Drive in College Park. The defendant stated that Mr. Reese stated that the defendant had gone to his home September 26, 2024, kicked the front door, causing dents, threw and broke a plant that was outside of the door, and vandalized the Ring doorbell camera outside of the apartment. The damage to the property was caught on the Ring doorbell camera, and it was given to the officers by Ian Reese. As you've heard, the defendant has 1 outstanding arrest, which is that simple battery family violence. We were not seeing, we did see that the disposition was, it was null prost in 2024. We have spoken to Mr. Reese. He stated that they are no longer in a relationship. They do not live together. The defendant was intoxicated at the time of the incident, according to Mr. Reese, and he stated that the defendant refused to leave and began destroying property inside of his home. That the defendant also damaged a cabinet, some sculptures, and some glasses, and the defendant took the Ring doorbell camera and he never received it back. He stated that they have not been in communication since this incident. There has been no other altercations since. He is stating that he's okay with contact. We are asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no further violent contact with Ian Reese, 3 days of anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no firearms. At this time, we would like to sound for Ian Reese.
Mr. Reese is on the line and wishes to address the court.
Line.
Okay, and so this is Mr. Reese in the blue here.
Yes.
Okay, if you can raise your right hand for me, please, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, yes, sir. What would you like to tell the court?
What I would like to tell the court is that that situation, though true it did happen, we have reconciled and we have talked since that. And I just asked that if he could just have whichever mercy that the court gives. I don't think that he's a bad person or wish that he should deal with any of these things because I already know what he has going on. But this is something that is, I didn't even know that it was happening until today. So I just ask that he can just get mercy for whatever it is that is being charged to him.
Thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Reese.
For sure.
Your Honor, if I may ask Mr. Reese a question?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Reese, the simple battery family violence, did that involve you?
It did.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Reese. That's all, Your Honor.
Ms. Patton, any objection to any of the state's requests?
No, Your Honor, no objection.
Okay. For each charge will be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 3 days, which makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 3 days of anger awareness. No further violent contact with Mr. Reese. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both.
Thank you.
The next is position 14, Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson. You have been charged in case 25CR003973B with simple battery family violence and 2 counts of simple assault family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was October 11th, 2022, out of Atlanta for aggravated assault. They have 5 total arrest cycles out of Georgia. Misdemeanor conviction in 2024 for reckless conduct. Felony conviction in 2024 for fleeing and attempting to elude. It appears that they're on probation for that. Case number is 24 SC 0000941. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On July 12th, 2025, officers responded to a domestic disturbance at 2758 Vineyard, Southeast Atlanta, apartment 410. They met with Ms. Zakila Burton, the victim here. She reported to officers on the scene a history of psychological and physical abuse by the defendant, who is the father of her two minor children. On this particular evening, she informed officers that the defendant came to her apartment to watch the children. He attempted to have intercourse with her, and she refused. Upon her refusal, he struck her repeatedly in the abdomen with a closed fist. She provided video and photographic evidence to officers at the scene of her prior bruises and expressed that she feared retaliation from the defendant in prior instances that had deterred her from contacting the police before. On this particular incident, Your Honor, Miss Shalisa Welch, which is the victim's sister, was able to actually arrive on scene from a nearby unit, and she observed the defendant standing behind the door holding a knife as she entered the apartment. At that time, she entered the apartment and secured the two minor children as they were present in the apartment at the time of this altercation. She ensured their safety and removed them from the apartment. We spoke to the victim. She did state that her and the defendant are in a relationship. They do not live together, but they do share two children together. She did state that the incident location is her residence. And she confirmed that they did have an argument and this was a big misunderstanding. She did tell officers that she does not wish to pursue the charges and she wants to continue contact with the defendant. The state's concern, Your Honor, of course, is the safety of the victim and the minor children present in the apartment, as the defendant was exhibiting violent behavior and also just this fearful presence of holding a knife at the door. I'm guessing an intimidation effort. The state's recommendation, Your Honor, is a $5,000 surety bond, which is a $3,000 surety for the battery and 1,000 per simple assault. We're asking for a stay away from 2758 Vineyard Street Southeast, Unit 410. We would like no contact with Ms. Burton at this time, at least for a sufficient cooling off period. And of course, out of protection for the minor children. And we're asking for the defendant to complete an FVIP course and no further contact with the kids unless mandated by the court. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And we will sound for Ms. Burton at this time, Your Honor. I believe she's joined us on the Zoom.
If Ms. Burton would like to address the court, now is your opportunity. If you'll unmute for me there, raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I swear.
Thank you. You can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, Ms. Burton?
I would like to say this is a big misunderstanding. Everything that was just said from my count is not true, sir. My sister was here when the police was here, and she was the main person that she was the one who called the police initially, and she was the one who was the one like talking to the police. I did tell them that we did get into a verbal altercation. It did start from us like finna have intercourse, and it was previously that morning. And he was mad at me because he thought that I was like having intercourse with someone else. So it wasn't no punch. He pushed me and we got into it together. Like it wasn't just him. It was and I went to my sister. She lives in the same apartments as me. They hate my baby daddy. So, and I really hate that I even put them in this situation because she did exactly she got exactly what she wanted for him to get locked up. And we don't never go through this. I've known this man since middle school. We have 2 kids together and we have never went through nothing like this. He have never put his hands on me. I don't know what they're saying about physical, psychological. I have told them that we do get into arguments, but that's just like any other couple. Like we get into arguments. This man is a great dad. Like he take care of our kids great. Like he helps me with transportation to get my kids to and from school. Like I just, this has been very overwhelming. I really need him. Like, and I don't know. I really need him.
How old are your children?
My child, I have a 6-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son, and we have never went through nothing like this at all.
And is Mr. Johnson working?
Yes, he's a priest, and that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't go through stuff like this. We have regular relationship problems, but he's a priest.
Okay. Any questions, Ms. Harrison?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Burton.
Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, he's been through a local high school, Georgia, all his life. He has worked as a manager in an aesthetics industry, hair care, supervising other people. Also, he's been a manager in another retail situation. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond.
Okay.
Can I say something else?
Yes, Ms. Burton.
They just said that I had provided some images. That is not true, sir. I never provided no image of nothing. I don't have a bruise on me or nothing. That's not true, sir. And that's what I mean. She was communicating. The officer was communicating with the lady officer down. My sister was communicating with the lady officer downstairs, and she was taking notes with my sister. That did not come from me. And also, when he was holding the knife, I told him that I was going to go get my brother. So when we came back in there, she trying to make it seem like he didn't come at us with no knife. Like, he probably was protect. He don't have no weapons. He don't. So I told him I was going to go get my brother, and that I just don't want it to make it seem like it's just something that is not.
Okay, well, now that I'm not understanding, what is it? Did he have a knife that he was threatening you with?
No, not at all. That's what I'm saying. She said that my sister, I'm just going based off on everything that just was said from the prosecutor. She said that he was standing behind the door holding a knife, and that's not true. He was standing, like, the knife was right there on, I have a little counter, and he had the knife right there because I told him I was going to go get my brother. Like, so he was like protecting himself. He don't have no weapon or nothing. Like, but he wasn't coming at us or nothing, like how she trying to make it seem like that's not true at all.
Well, if you were in enough trouble that you thought you needed to go get your brothers, and you know that your family does not like, as you have just testified to, Mr. Johnson, what type of peril were you putting him in?
No, that's what I'm saying. I was telling him, like, I wasn't putting him in really nothing, but there's two men and they don't like each other. So he's protecting himself. I'm just saying why exactly.
Well, why were you going to get your brother?
No, I just told him, like, so he could just leave me alone.
Okay.
Because we was in an argument.
Where were the children when you were in this argument?
So my children, during this argument, they was asleep. They wasn't even up. My sister woke them up to get them, like, just out the apartment. They wasn't even up yet. It was early. And my son was taking a nap. And we have separate rooms. Like, we was in my room.
Your Honor, if I may, the state is opposed to a signature bond because the defendant did have an aggravated assault case. Pretrial, are you able to provide me with the disposition of that case? I couldn't find the disposition of the aggravated assault.
I wasn't able to find one either on the GCIC.
Okay.
All right, for the simple battery, it will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 3. For each of the other charges, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3 makes for a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3. 3 days of anger awareness, 1 parenting class. Based on what I've heard, at this point in time, I don't think it's a good idea for Ms. Burton and Mr. Johnson to have any contact. So no further contact, and stay away from the Vineyard Street address. He can go back to that address on 1 occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. Third-party transfer of the minor children for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. When there's a sufficient cooling off time, Ms. Burton and Mr. Johnson, if you want to make a petition to modify this bond and have contact, we'll consider it down the road. Good luck to you both.
Next is position 24, Mr. Wilkins.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wilkins. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003983H with criminal trespass, cruelty to children in the 3rd degree, 2 counts of battery family violence, and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was February 10th, 2024 out of Fulton for criminal trespass. That case was null pros. They have 2 adult arrest cycles out of Georgia. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On July 13th, officers were dispatched to 43 Country Place Court in Alpharetta in response to a physical altercation call. When they arrived on scene, they met with Miss Desiree Romero and her daughter. They entered the residence and observed that there were items strewn about, showing signs of an altercation. The victim explained that her and the defendant lived there together with her daughter. She stated that they were arguing because he wanted to leave the residence. She was sitting on the bed and called her friend because the argument began to get heated. And while she was on the phone with her friend, the defendant grabbed her arm and attempted to take her phone out of her hand. At that point, she hung up the phone. Her friend tried to call her back as the altercation continued, but the defendant ultimately was able to rip her shorts off, and he grabbed his dog and attempted to get the dog to attack her, like directing the dog to go down towards her private area. She pushed him away and laid on top of her phone on the left side of her body to avoid the defendant from getting her phone. And then he struck her across her right temple with an open palm and ran out of the residence. During that altercation, he yelled at the minor child multiple times that she was not his child and that he did not want her. Officers did observe what appeared to be nail marks on Ms. Romero's forearm and swelling on her right temple. They met with the defendant and he confirmed that they did have an argument. He stated that he was collecting his belongings. He pushed Ms. Romero out of his way, and he was upset with her because she was on the phone with a friend saying she was going to get another guy. And he grabbed her arm and tried to get her phone and admitted to officers that he did strike her in the right temple when he was upset. Your Honor, the state's recommendation in this case is a $5,000 surety bond. We're asking for a stay away from 43 Place Country Court, no contact with Ms. Desiree Romero, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol, a 2-day anger awareness course. And give me just 1 second here. That's my notes. Oh. And we did speak to the victim. She stated that her and the defendant are in a relationship. They do live together at this incident location. They do share 1 child together. She confirmed the event in the warrant, and she stated that she's not in fear of the defendant and wants to continue contact. We do, however, Your Honor, being that this incident happened just on the 13th, have a concern for the parties to have a sufficient cooling off period. And we will sound for Ms. Romero at this time.
Ms. Romero is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. If you'll raise your right hand for me, please, ma'am. I believe it's the other hand.
Oh, sorry.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're not driving, are you?
No, I'm just in the car. I was at work.
Okay, okay. Yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I just want to say this is the first time we actually argue in front of the baby, and we never got actually physical. This is the first time he actually gets physical or anything like this happens. And like she said, I am not in fear of him. He he is. I have my parents and stuff, but like he is my support system, and like he takes care of his child. He's the best dad I can ask for her. I get that he says stuff out of anger. We did talk about it, and he does regret doing what he did. And we both know that this is not going to happen again. And as to the criminal trespass, I'm not sure why he would get that or the cruelty to children because he is the best dad to her. That's her best friend. Every day she sees him, she just runs to him.
Tell me, how old's your child?
She's 2.
And tell me what happened.
We were arguing. We are in the process of moving because where we at right now is too little for us, and we wanted something bigger. We are moving in with my parents because it's just a financial situation we're going through right now. He is working, but it's just little. He's not making much. And well, we were just arguing over him wanting to go to his sister's house, but since I don't get along with none of his family, I didn't want to go. And that was the argument onto why everything started.
And did he place his hands on you?
Yes, sir, but I'm pretty sure he would never do that again. He has never done that. I was left with no marks or nothing. And as to the this this is I feel like it's old because it's already scabbed up when I looked at it. It just I really sometimes the baby be scratching me or stuff like that. So I don't know where the scratch marks are from, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't from him or it wasn't done on purpose if it was from him.
Okay, anything further, Ms. Romero?
No, that'll be all.
Thank you. Mr. McLean?
10th grade education has that one prior arrest apparently in electricity, doing electrician type work for the last year, and has in the past worked as well at UPS with logistics and worked in a Waffle House. We would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond in this situation with appropriate conditions with regard to the class the court feels necessary or advisable. And we would ask for a signature bond.
Okay, for each of the battery charges will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the simple battery, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the criminal trespass, a $500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. The cruelty, a $500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $6,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 3 days of anger awareness, 1 parenting class. At this point in time, no further contact with Ms. Romero. Stay away from her residential address. He can go back to that address on 1 occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. Third-party transfer of the minor child for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Afternoon, Officer Milton.
The ladies over here, I have 7 females that need to hear their rights, and we will start with petition 1.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. If you do not have a private attorney, we're providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. Ms. Barber. Good afternoon, Ms. Barber. You've been charged in case 25 CR 003970F with 2 counts of battery, 2 counts of simple battery, simple assault, and criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was June the 5th, 2025, out of East Point for simple assault and simple battery. There's 21 total arrests out of Georgia and California. There's a 2014 felony conviction out of California for assault. It says ADW with force, possible GBI. There also appears to be a hold out of Sacramento, California for an FTA, and the date of that is September 4th, 2024. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened at 30 Alabama Street Southwest, the 5 Points MARTA station, on July 13th of 2025. Miss Trevira Rogers, who's a maintenance worker there, was helping a patron collect his change from the Breeze machine, and the defendant came over, asked for the change. Miss Rogers then told the defendant she needed to leave the patron alone and needed to leave the station. At that point, the defendant threw a soda can from an open Coca-Cola can at Miss Rogers, took a fighting stance, swung multiple closed fists at Miss Rogers, and struck her in the face, and then proceeded to claw at Miss Rogers as Miss Rogers backed up, scratching her arms. Officers did observe scratch marks to Miss Rogers' arms, as well as a swollen face and a swollen eye. The defendant was placed under arrest, and it did show that the defendant had had a previous trespass from that location that expires on August 2nd of 2025 that was issued May 4th of 2025 to stay away from all MARTA stations. As you've heard from the defendant's history, there is a history that does include violence. We do have some concerns about the fact that she essentially attacked a MARTA employee when the MARTA employee told her, understandably, to leave one of the patrons alone. She shouldn't have even been at that MARTA station since there was still an active criminal trespass against her. She also has insufficient ties to the community. As you've heard, she has 17 cycles in California and 6 in Georgia. We are asking for a $4,000 surety bond, $1,000 per count of battery, $500 for all remaining charges. Stay away from all MARTA. No further contact with Trevia Rogers, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, as well as 3-day anger awareness. We have spoken to MMHC, and they are considering her for their program. So that will also give them time to speak with her and consider that. We did speak to Ms. Rogers, and she is agreeable with Ms. Barber entering the MMHC program. We would like to sound for Ms. Trevia Rogers, and that's all for the state. Sorry, Your Honor, I can't hear you. You're breaking up. I don't know if it's just my Wi-Fi.
I was sounding for Ms. Rogers. Ms. Rogers, if you are with us, well, I see that you are with us. If you choose to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to unmute yourself and activate your camera for me if you choose to do so. Doesn't appear that Ms. Rogers would like to address the court this afternoon. Oh, here we go. Ms. Rogers, if you'll unmute yourself for me. Okay, I'll still need for you to unmute yourself before I can swear you in.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. You can only use one device.
Okay, one of them is not working. My camera's not working on my computer.
Okay. Let's see if this will work. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You said what now, sir?
Do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
I would just like to say that I am with her getting some kind of mental help because I think she do needs the mental help because the way she approached me on yesterday, it kind of traumatized me a little bit. And yes, I recommend that she do get the mental help that she needs, and because that's the station that I'm at. So just make sure I just don't have contact with her anymore.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Patton?
Yes, Your Honor, we're gonna ask for Miss Barbara's bond to be lowered. She's not gonna be able to afford that. She's unemployed, unhoused, and transient, and so there's no way that she's gonna be able to make a bond that high. So I'd ask that it be reduced significantly to give her a chance to even make that bond.
For
Anna,
each
can I say something, please?
yes, Ms. Rogers, what would you like to say?
I feel like that she wasn't worrying about what was going on when she attacked me. And because she was trying to steal money from another patron. That's how everything happened.
Okay, so this is only a bond hearing this afternoon, Ms. Rogers. They're going to
Yes.
be, you'll have the opportunity to litigate this as it goes forward. And if there is some need for some mental health, then that will also be provided. So I appreciate you being here this afternoon, and the solicitor's office will be in touch with you to let you know what further hearings that there are in the matter as you go forward, okay?
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am, you're welcome. For each battery will be $1,000 good bond. For each of the other charges will be a $500 good bond, makes for a total of a $4,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Rogers. Stay away at this point from all MARTA. A social worker visit to assess for BHET, MHET, or housing issues. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Ms. Patton, I will see her again on July 29th at the SAP calendar. If she does not get out, if you will have those attorneys at that time report to me, we'll see how we can move this forward, okay?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Good luck to you, Ms. Barber.
Next is Exhibit 8. Second. 1 second, Your Honor. We're ready now.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Pachetti. Yes, ma'am. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003969B with battery family violence and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes. The last arrest was June 15th, 2025 out of Fulton for theft by shoplifting. And that case is open under 24 PI 008327. And it appears that they're being supervised by pretrial, so we'll be surrendering their bond. There's 3 total arrest cycles. There's another open shoplifting case under 25 CR 003359B. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Paul?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on June 19th of 2025. Officers were dispatched to 420 Wigton Drive in Milton, Georgia. They were then asked to relocate to Bell Memorial Park to speak with Miss Ava Cacchetti, who is the daughter of the defendant. Miss Cacchetti, Ava Cacchetti, called her father, William, because her mother, the defendant, was throwing away his things. They are actually in the process of getting a divorce. Mr. Cacchetti arrived to gather his belongings from the trash. The defendant got very upset by the fact she called her father and was trying to get in Mr. Cacchetti's vehicle and crawl over the center console. Mr. Cacchetti was then worried that she was going to drive off, so he stopped the vehicle. And that's when the daughter stepped in, tried to get her mom out of the vehicle. And at that point, the defendant threw back her right elbow and struck her 15-year-old daughter in the right shoulder and collarbone area. The Miss Ava Cacchetti then ran back into the house out of some concern for what was going on and called 911. The officers were able to observe the red mark on the daughter's collarbone, captured it on body cam, and they also spoke to Noah Cacchetti, who stated he saw the altercation and observed Ava being shoved by the defendant. Officers then went to the location and were able to eventually place her under arrest. On this case, Your Honor, the state's main concern is the fact that their daughter was essentially involved what amounts to kind of a dispute in regards to the divorce, but that it rose to the level that she actually ended up striking her daughter. We did speak with Miss Ava Cacchetti. We also spoke to her father, Mr. William Cacchetti. He did confirm the events in the warrant, and he stated that Ava lives between him and the defendant. He said this is the first time that this has happened. For the most part, everything has been good between the victim and the defendant, and he is okay with no violent contact. This is the first arrest of violence. As you heard, she does have 3 cycles and a previous case that is open for a theft by shoplifting under 3359B. On that case, which is now before Judge Porter, on June 16th of 2025, she was provided a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services by Your Honor, as well as a stay away from Sephora at Avalon Boulevard and all Sephora stores and an anti-theft course. And that was on June 16th of 2025. This incident happened on, just a moment, Your Honor. This incident happened 4 days later. So there's clearly something going on with the defendant. We are requesting a $3,000 surety bond, no further violent contact with Ava Cacchetti, 2 days of anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no firearms. We would like to sound for Mr. William Cacchetti if he is present, and that's all for the state.
Mr. Cacchetti is the line that wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Yes, Ms. Patton.
Yes, Your Honor. We are going to be requesting a signature bond. I do understand that Ms. Cacchetti has a history. However, they're not violent. She is currently going through a divorce. She's 64 years old. She's been unemployed the duration of her marriage, which has been upward of 16 years. And she's having obviously financial hardship. So we'd ask that she receive a signature bond. We do not object to any of the other conditions. It's just the dollar amount on the bond, Your Honor.
Okay, well, I just gave her a signature bond not too very long ago, so I'm not willing to give her another signature bond. For each chart, for the battery, it'll be a $2,000 good bond. For the simple battery, $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further violent contact with either William or Ava Cacchetti. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Ms. Bridgewater, are you with me?
Yes, sir, I am.
Did you get the open case number?
No, sir, will you give it to me again, please?
Yes, ma'am. 25 CR 003359B. If we can also place that case on the SAP calendar in case those both come before me on the 29th.
Will do.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next is position 17, Ms. Catalina.
Good afternoon, Ms. Capelina. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003976B with battery, criminal trespass, and damage to property, and simple battery. Is there a history? Ms. Hardy?
This is her first arrest.
Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on July 12th. Officers responded to a 911 hang-up call at 808 Kirkwood Avenue. When they arrived, they checked the front of the residence to do a knock and talk and got no answer. So they proceeded to the back and noticed that a back door was open. At that time, another officer went to the front of the residence to call another unit to clear the residence. And then they made contact with Ms. Capelina, the defendant. They approached her, asked her if she lived there. She stated she did. They asked her why the back door was open, and she said she'd just gotten into an argument with her fiance, and they both left the residence on foot. Officers then saw Mr. Anthony Karam, the victim, approaching the residence, and they asked him if everything was fine. He stated yes, he just needed her to leave the residence. He told officers that the defendant did not live at the residence. They checked his license and confirmed that the residence was his actual address. He informed officers that, they confirmed that it was his actual address. So the defendant subsequently told officers she was getting her belongings to leave the property. A short time later, she returned back to the residence. Mr. Karam informed officers that she kicked the back door down and entered the residence, which caused an argument between the two of them. And then she proceeded to punch him in the nose, leaving visible marking and bruising and bleeding to his nose and forehead. He did inform officers that they've been seeing each other on and off for about 3 years. They do not share any kids together, and she's never permanently lived with him. He gave officers her information, and they pulled up a picture. They uploaded a picture of her to their system and proceeded to wait a couple minutes, and they saw the defendant reapproach the residence, and they were able to place her under arrest. We did speak to Mr. Curran today. He did state that he and the defendant are no longer in a relationship. They do not live together. They don't have any children together. This is his residence. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He stated that he's not in fear of the defendant and he would like to continue contact, just no violent contact. The state's recommendation, Your Honor, being that this is the defendant's first arrest, is a $3,000 surety bond, a stay away from 808 Kirkwood Avenue, no violent contact with Mr. Curran, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol, and completion of a 2-day anger awareness course. And we'll sound for Mr. Anthony Curran at this time, and that'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Karam, if you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to unmute yourself for me there. Raise your right hand. Okay, you have to unmute for me first, though. While we give Mr. Karam the opportunity to unmute there, Mr. McLean.
What was the state's recommendation?
It's a surety bond, Mr. McLean, a $3,000 surety bond with a stay away from the incident location and no further violent contact, 2-day anger awareness, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
Okay, that's what I thought. Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond instead. It's the first first arrest. She's 34. She lives in Cumming, Georgia. Her college is in the theater area. She's a sales rep of products, and she has also been a chef. Generally speaking, whether she's sales representing products or whether she is a chef, it's always been in the restaurant area, I believe. She was a guest for a couple of days at his place. So that's why it's not FD. We would ask the court to do a signature bond with appropriate conditions as far as any classes the court might feel necessary or advisable.
Okay. It appears that Mr. Karam has fallen off. For the battery will be a $2,000 signature bond through
Hello.
pretrial. Yes.
I'm sorry. I had issues with the microphone.
Okay, if you can raise your right hand for me, please, sir.
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
I just want to say that this was a big misunderstanding. It was a small argument that turned into something that escalated very, very quickly. I could have easily, and she could have easily just talked it out, and I probably should have just talked it out with her. And I probably mentally pushed her to a limit that she's not really capable of getting to. She's a great person. She's a wonderful mom. She's not one to do this. And I have to say, like, I think pushed her to get that angry, and she was supposed to sleep over my house. She had nowhere to go. I think she was stressed. She was scared. That provoked her to do what she did. I know it sounds corny, but it was kind of a crime of passion in that moment. And she's not one to do this. I don't want any trouble. I know it's already in this process, but I really want the court to take mercy on her because she doesn't deserve this because it was just one unfortunate incident that happened. And I'm sorry that happened, and I wish it didn't happen, and I wish I could have just controlled myself and not had to call 911. But I was in a moment, I was stressed out. I didn't know what else to do.
Right. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Karam.
Okay.
Again, for the battery will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For each of the other charges, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Karam, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both.
Position 19, Ms. Pine.
Good afternoon, Ms. Pine. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003978G with battery and simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was February 21st, 2024, out of Gwinnett for terroristic threats. They have 4 total arrest cycles. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On July 12th, officers were dispatched to 2448 Cheshire Bridge Road, which is a Valero gas station. They met with Ms. Tiana Fox, the victim, at the time, and she informed officers that she was assaulted by the defendant on the scene. Officers were able to observe bruising and contusion in the area of Ms. Fox's forehead at the time when they spoke to her. She pointed out the defendant on the scene and informed officers that that was the person who attacked her. She informed officers that she does not personally know the defendant, but she has been involved in a verbal altercation with her via Instagram, as it's come to Ms. Fox's attention that the defendant and Ms. Fox's boyfriend have a situation going on. He is incarcerated, and the defendant is, to Ms. Fox's knowledge, she just found out the defendant is putting money on her boyfriend's books. So they had an exchange over Instagram, and the defendant informed Ms. Fox that whenever she catches her, she was going to beat her up. On this particular day, Ms. Fox arrived at the gas station to pump gas, and when exiting her vehicle, she saw the defendant aggressively walking towards her, and the defendant said, "What's up?" And Ms. Fox replied, "What's up?" And the defendant began grabbing Ms. Fox's hair and pulling her to the ground. And she was punching her subsequently during all of this. There was a witness on the scene. It was a person who was with Miss Fox, and his name is Mr. Birdsong. He advised officers that he was pumping gas and catching up with a friend. And while doing so, he observed the defendant make an improper U-turn on Cheshire Bridge Road, crash into another vehicle, and then run towards the Valero gas station. And that's when he saw her attack Miss Fox, and he broke up the altercation on the scene. We spoke to the victim, and she stated that she does not know the defendant personally at all. This was her first time she'd seen the defendant in person. She confirmed the events in the warrant and stated that she wants no contact with the defendant. And she was not able to join us via Zoom, but the state's recommendation, Your Honor, is a $2,000 surety bond. We're asking for no contact at all with Ms. Tayana Fox. That's in any way, shape, or form, via phone, social media, in person, no contact at all. We are also asking for a stay away from the Valero at 2448 Cheshire Brewery Road. 2-day anger awareness class, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and will sound for Miss Fox just out of an abundance of caution in accordance with Marcy's law. And that'll be all for this.
Ms. Fox is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Ms. Pine is 24. The 4 cycles that were mentioned, she says a Gwinnett marijuana case, a Hall County case that was a theft accusation that was dismissed. There was a argument type of case. She tells me she lives on Cheshire Bridge Road in an apartment complex. She did have a wreck. She was very upset, ran to the gas station. She tells me she's not the primary aggressor. She is aware of the tension between the parties. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond in this situation, Your Honor.
For the battery will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Simple battery, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 2 days of anger awareness. No further contact with Ms. Fox. Stay away from the Valero on Cheshire Bridge Road. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Next is position 20, Ms. Randolph.
Good afternoon, Ms. Randolph. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003979Y with 2 counts of battery family violence and 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
No, Your Honor, no history to report at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On July 12th, officers responded to the Hamilton Hotel, which is located at 35 Milton Avenue, in regards to a dispute. When they got there, they did speak with Mr. Birchfield, and he explained to officers that the defendant, they're in a relationship, began to hit him and bite him after an argument started because the defendant was upset that she could not control Mr. Birchfield's drinking. He stated that the argument escalated when she started to hit him repeatedly. And Mr. Birchfield stated that he started bleeding. And he would pretty much, they were lying in bed. He was lying in bed, and she started to punch him in the face, making him bleed. Officers did observe fresh bruises to the left side of his face and a cut in the middle of his lower lip that was also swollen. He told officers that once she started hitting him, he turned his back to her in the bed, and that's when she started to bite him several times on the backside and on his buttocks. He does not remember his busted lip On the scene, when officers approached the defendant, she just informed officers over and over again that she's not sure what happened and subsequently told officers that they should probably take her to jail. We did speak to the victim today. He did state that he and the defendant are in a relationship. They live together in Arkansas, but they share no children. He stated that he does not know what really happened. He has no recollection of the altercation occurring between the two. But they are here from Arkansas visiting for his cousin's wedding, and he would like to continue contact with the defendant. The state's recommendation, Your Honor, in light of the defendant being an out-of-state resident, is a $4,000 surety bond. We're asking for no further violent contact with the victim, Mr. Austin Birchfield, a stay away from the Hamilton Hotel, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol, and completion of a 2-day anger awareness course. And we will sound for Mr. Austin Birchfield at this time.
Yes, I think everything was just a big.
Okay, if you can raise your right hand for me, please, sir.
Okay, yes, sir.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
Okay, I think everything was a big misunderstanding. She is really the sweetest girl ever. We've never argued before. I think that was probably the first time we've ever argued, and I did not really know what to do. I should not call the police, but she's not violent. We were at a party or wedding drinking. We just got a little too much. So that's about it. But that was kind of a misunderstanding. I didn't think she was gonna go to jail.
All right, thank you for being here this afternoon.
Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, she tells me there was an open bar before and after, and it sounds like both people were drinking too much, and we would ask the court if there's any possible way, if understand she's out of state, but I would ask the court to consider any possible way she could have a signature bond anyway, and if not, then a $1,000 surety. But if there's some kind of exception to the rule for good cause shown, we would ask the signature bond. Your Honor, they were in town for a wedding in Alpharetta. She has a BA in business management and marketing. She does direct marketing, consulting, showing other businesses how to do media and marketing. She named a particular LLC, but it's an Arkansas corporation. I'm not familiar with it, but it's in that area. And she's been to Arkansas Tech University. Thank you.
Okay, for each charge will be a $250 good bond, makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. No further violent contact with Mr. Birchfield, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both.
Thank you.
Next
Welcome.
is position 21, Ms. Saye.
Good afternoon, Ms. Saye. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003980F with battery family violence and 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was February 10th, 2025 out of Newton County for unlawful conduct during a 911 call. They have 6 total arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia, Iowa, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. There was a 2024 misdemeanor conviction out of Iowa for disorderly conduct. Nothing further to report.
Garrison?
Your Honor, on July 11th, 2025, officers responded to 2591 Piedmont Road Northeast, apartment 2302, in reference to a dispute between a male and female. When they arrived, they made contact with the caller, Mr. Thompson Malonga, who stated that he and his girlfriend were having a verbal argument on the sofa watching TV, and he dozed off and woke up to the defendant hitting him on the side of his head. So he began to record her grabbing and pulling at him while he was requesting for her to stop, and he showed officers the video of the defendant as she was coming at him. He produced recordings of her hitting him and continued to state for her to stop. He also showed recordings of her striking him with a TV remote and throwing a large cutting board at him. Your Honor, light of the defendant's, I'm sorry, we did speak to the victim. He stated that he and the defendant aren't in a relationship. They live together at the incident location. They share no children. He confirmed the events in the warrant, and he did state that the defendant threw multiple items at him. He stated he was actually hit with those items, and this is not the defendant's first time being violent towards him. It's not the first time the police have been called. But she would typically leave the scene before the police would arrive. At this point, he has no desire to have any contact with her, and he would like for her to stay away from the residence completely. And he would be okay with her having a one-time law enforcement escort to retrieve her belongings. The state's recommendation in light of these facts, Your Honors, a $3,000 surety bond, a stay away from 2591 Piedmont Road Northeast, with the exception of a one-time police escort for the retrieval of belongings. No contact at all with Mr. Thompson Melange. I'm sorry. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol, and completion of a 2-day anger awareness course. We will sound for Mr. Malonga at this time, Your Honor, and that'll be all for.
Mr. Malonga is on the line. Wishes to address it. Okay, is that Mr. Thompson? You've got something going on in the background there that I can't hear you.
I apologize, Your Honor.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, yes, sir. What would you like to tell the court?
Yes, Your Honor. When I spoke to the court earlier today, I was still kind of pretty upset about the whole situation. And then, after speaking to them, I said, and I consider it, and I would like to see if the court can at least consider that Miss Damema is able to at least be allowed a signature bond. There are a few reasons I would like to present to the court. Number one, when it comes to Miss Mamer, I've known her for years, for a very long time, since 2018. And she has been through a lot. I know of several relationships that she has had where she has experienced domestic violence from the other side, from the gentleman that she was involved with. We have even spoken about it several times, where we've talked about possibly getting her some therapy, because I feel like that's kind of where her demeanor and anger kind of comes from. Right now, so when I met her in Iowa, I went to visit her in Iowa back in December. I realized she was in a situation where, it just wasn't the best situation for her. She's a fashion designer, so I invited her to come to Atlanta to see if she can get her business started. So when she came here, she's been working on her business to try to get that off the ground. So currently she doesn't work. She doesn't have much family here in Georgia. She has an estranged aunt. So really she's been living with me. And I do have a 2-bedroom here in my apartment. So I'm okay with her just having a no violent contact, and she can take the other place. Our lease does end pretty soonly on the 29th. So I think that'll give her enough time to get on her feet so she can get somewhere to be. I honestly just feel like what she needs is a little help with a bit of anger management, possibly. But even with the bond, is seeing that she doesn't work right now, I don't think any bond she'll be able to afford. And since she is here and I'm kind of her closest contact, I'll pretty much be responsible kind of to try to help her with our bond. So a signature bond, I think, would be sufficient, and maybe some anger management for her. And we can have no violent contact until lease is up and she finds her own place very soon. So that's what I would like to say to the court.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, she's 32. She has lived in several states. She is here in Atlanta, as he mentioned, for those stated purposes, doing the fashion designing. She has a degree in fashion design, an associate's degree. She's also been working on dental hygiene. As you can imagine, or as we can imagine, as a victim of domestic violence herself, she has also done a fair amount of support work for other victims of domestic violence and mentally challenged people. But she does have a stable Atlanta address. Her aunt is here in Atlanta, Conyers' sister, essentially. And although she grew up in Rhode Island, she has been here for long enough to be a Georgian now. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond.
For the battery, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For each of the other charges, a $500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 2 days of anger awareness. No further violent contact with the alleged victim. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both.
Next is position 23, Ms. Sykes. Ms. Sykes.
Good afternoon, Ms. Sykes. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003982J with criminal trespass and damage to property and simple assault family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Harding?
No, Your Honor, this is the first arrest.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On July 13th, officers were dispatched to a domestic dispute call at 493 Oakside Drive. When they arrived, they met with the victim, Mr. Devon Wiggins, who stated he was in a verbal dispute with his children's mother, the defendant, Miss Jackie Sykes, over an accusation that he was cheating on her with another female. The argument became heated, and the defendant grabbed a screwdriver in an attempt to puncture Mr. Wiggins' 2008 Dodge Charger tires. Officers noticed there was a surveillance camera pointed at the car when they were on scene, and they asked Mr. Wiggins if he had footage of the altercation. He confirmed he did. He showed officers surveillance footage of the incident, which displayed the defendant walking outside towards the car, attempting to puncture the driver's side tire. And then she turned around, used threatening language against Mr. Wiggins, the victim. And she had the screwdriver in her hand, pointed at him, and she stated that he effed with the wrong one and slammed the screwdriver and a hammer onto the trunk of the car, leaving an indentation. Your Honor, we were not able to contact the victim today, but we are aware, due to the defendant informing officers, that this is a relationship of 15 years and the pair share children together. The state's recommendation in light of those facts is a $2,000 surety bond. We're asking for no further violent contact at all with Mr. Wiggins, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and completion of a 2-day anger awareness course. And we'll sound for Mr. Wiggins in the event that he's joined us in court. And that'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Wiggins is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, they have been in a relationship for a decade and a half. She's 38 now. 10th grade education. She works at a large regional here in Atlanta, a large company that sells automobile equipment, customizing type of equipment. But she is very industrious, and basically right now she's working 3 jobs. We would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond here with appropriate classes if that's necessary or advisable. Nothing to add.
For each charge will be a $500 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 2 days of anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Wiggins, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we be excused?
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.
Have a good afternoon.
Next is position 22, Mr. Stevens.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Stevens. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003981J with 1 misdemeanor offense. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was November 10th, 2023 out of Fulton County for criminal damage to property. They have 5 total arrest cycles, arrests out of Georgia, Alabama, and Maryland. There was a 2021 DUI conviction. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Harrison?
Yeah, sure. Yes, Your Honor. On July 12th, officers were dispatched to 1280 West Peachtree. That is actually called 1280 condos. So the whole location is a condominium complex. When they arrived, they made contact with the leasing manager, Mr. Gary Furbish, who identified the resident as the defendant. He informed officers that the defendant made verbal threats to him, stating that he would kill him, and informed officers that there have been multiple reports filed against the defendant regarding similar threatening behavior and disturbances from the defendant at this location. I just want to mention that the 23 case that pretrial mentioned, the criminal damage to property, was at this location as well, Your Honor. On this particular night, I'm sorry. From that actual case, the 23 case, the defendant is criminally trespassed from all the common areas of the condominium complex. So he's only technically allowed to be in his unit. On this particular night, Mr. Stevens exited his residence and entered the ballroom area where there was a private party. The private party was actually ending, and there was live security footage catching Mr. Stevens placing his hand on the buttocks of one of the attendees. The victim is Miss Shadayla Calloway as she walked away, and Miss Calloway reacted to Mr. Stevens touching her by screaming at him and telling him not to touch her. He was then seen attempting to start a physical altercation with a male guest standing nearby. Ms. Calloway and her friend stated that Mr. Stevens had been interacting with them since approximately 2 p.m. and made an inappropriate comment referencing Ms. Calloway's private area while pointing at her private area. And then that was followed by the unsolicited physical contact. He was then placed under arrest and yeah, Your Honor, in light of the defendant's ongoing disturbances at this location, the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond. We're asking for a stay away again from the common areas of 280 West condominiums, no contact at all with Miss Shadayla Calloway, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. We were able to contact the victim, Your Honor. She was not able to speak to us as she was at work. So we'll sound for her out of an abundance of caution in accordance with Marcy's law, but I'm not sure that she's joined us on the Zoom. And her name is Miss Shadayla Calloway. And that'll be all for this.
Ms. Calloway is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, when I looked up the 2023 matter, it appeared to be an elevator keypad damage, and so that wouldn't be directed towards a particular person. I would like to emphasize that. Your Honor, his education is 2 years, associates in science and communications. He's retired in communications, fiber optics sales manager for 7 years, and he's a veteran of the United States Armed Forces, honorably discharged. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond. If that is not what the court wants to do, we would ask that it be simply a 1,000 surety. Thank you.
And Your Honor, I just want to inform you that on the same night, the defendant did get charges for terroristic threats for the other disturbing behavior towards the leasing manager. So he does have an active and open felony case for that.
And
I also wanted to mention 4 times a week he does volunteer work at a large congregation here that is very effective in social work in the community.
all right, will be a $10,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from the common areas of the incident location. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Stevens.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Welcome. So
Right.
do we have some announcements?
Yes, and I have 2 waivers, 11 and 15. And Ms. Milton told me that position 3 is going to be a behavior reset.
Okay, so Ms. Browder, position 3 will be reset until 7/16. Position 11 is Johnny Felton, charged in case 25 CR 003964C with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, Your Honor. There are 51 arrest cycles in Georgia. Last arrest was June 26, 2025, out of Atlanta for criminal trespass. There's 5 felony convictions outside the last 10-year period. There's a 2023 entering auto that they're on probation for. That's 23 SC 189032. And then for the misdemeanors, they have convictions for criminal trespass in 2009, 2006, 93, 91, and 94. Nothing further.
Thank you. Spunk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on July 12th, 2025. Defendant went to the home of Morgan Villar without permission at 1003 Spark Street, Atlanta, Georgia. The defendant had previously been given a warning to stay away from that location by officers on June 26th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. The defendant was walking on the porch of Miss Villar's home, going through her dumpster on the property, and was arrested for that offense. The defendant actually has 2 other recent criminal trespass convictions. One is on 24 CR 006827E and 24 CR 004398C. The first conviction was in October of 2024. The second conviction was in July of 2024. We are asking for a $500 surety bond. Stay away from Morgan Villar, located at 1003 Spark Street in Atlanta. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We're also going to request a social worker visit at this time. I believe both of his 2024 criminal trespass cases were balance suspended, so he's not currently on probation for them. However, this would make his 3rd criminal trespass in a year. That's all for the state. We would like to sound from Morgan Villar if she is present and would like to speak.
Ms. Villar is with us and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. McLean?
Thank you. Your Honor, Mr. Felton seemed fatigued today and didn't wish to be present in court with us. Just wanted to be in his cell. Your Honor, he was going through the dumpster there. I don't know if that was for food. I don't know what was going on. We would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond. I told him that it may be that he would be stuck in jail for a few weeks. But we would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond. Social worker visit would be quite appropriate.
Okay, $500 good bond, social worker visit to assess for BHET and housing. No further contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from the Spark Street address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. The next is position number 15, Terry Johnson, charged in case 25 CR 003974B with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, Your Honor. The last arrest was January 17th, 2025, out of Atlanta for criminal trespass. That case is open under 25 CR 000315B. They have 83 arrest cycles. There's 3 felony convictions outside the last 10-year period. Same thing. Well, 1, 2, 3. There's several misdemeanors outside the last 10-year period. They have criminal trespass, conviction in 2014, 2011, 2010, 2009, to that all the way to 1999. Nothing further.
Ms. Harrison, is it your position 15?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that was Deputy Falk case.
Ms. Falk, are you still with me?
Gone.
Yes, I'm sorry. This is Terry Johnson.
Yes, position 15.
Yes,
If it is Terry Johnson, that is Miss Harrison's case.
Oh. I'm so sorry. I'm looking right at right over. I'm sorry. Okay. Yes,
No
Your Honor.
worries.
On July 12th, I had too many Johnsons. I'm sorry. Officers were dispatched to a criminal trespass call at 609 Cascade Avenue. When they arrived, they observed a man in the parking lot matching the description provided by dispatch. The male was identified as Mr. Johnson. They made contact with the store manager, who advised that Mr. Johnson had been previously criminal trespassed from this area and was advised not to return to the property, and that trespass was on July 8th. Mr. Herman informed officers that the defendant disregarded the warning and has returned to the location multiple times. He was detained and placed under arrest at that point. The state's recommendation, Your Honor, is $1,000 surety bond, a stay away from China cafeteria, which is the 609 Cascade Avenue address, no contact with any staff there, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol, and we are asking for a social worker visit to conduct a BHET or to assess for any assistance with residential challenges.
Thank you.
And that'll be all for the state. Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Was waived today. We agree with the social worker visit. As a matter of fact, I think he agrees with that. And he's a graduate of, not a graduate, I'm sorry, 10th grade education at Grady High School back when it was called Grady. And he basically is not only residentially challenged, but financially challenged because he doesn't have an income and has to resort to panhandling. So I think he's going to be stuck here for a while, unless Your Honor wants to put him into a shelter. We certainly have advice on what shelters, but he needs social worker advice. And we would ask the court to do what it feels is advisable for his well-being.
And it would be a $500 good bond, social worker visit to assess for BHET and housing issues, stay away from the China cafeteria on Cascade Avenue, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay, I believe that completes the 2 o'clock calendar. Ms. Bridgewater, whenever you're ready for us.
Yes, Your Honor. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is July 29th. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $4,000 good bond. Position 2 also to that calendar with a $2,000 total good bond. Position number 3 is being reset for Wednesday for behavior, and that date is July the 16th. Position 4 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $4,000 good bond. Position 5 is reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 6 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. 7 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 total good bond. Position 8, SAP calendar with a total $3,000 total good bond. And we're also adding the other case 25 CR 003359V to that calendar as well. Position 9, SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. Position 10, SAP calendar with a total $1,500 good bond. 11, SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. 12, SAP calendar again with a $500 good bond. 13 is being reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 14, reset further notice with a total $5,000 SOB through pretrial. 15 is going to the SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. 16, SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 17, reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. 18, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 19, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 20 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. 21 is reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 22, reset further notice with a total $10,000 SOB through pretrial. 23, reset further notice with a total $1,000 SOB through pretrial. 24 is reset further notice with a total $6,000 SOB through pretrial. Give me just a second. I'll tell you what the add-on is. I have a lot of paperwork here. Okay, for the add-on position, it's going to be reset further notice with a total $5,000 SOB through pretrial. Are there any questions? Any comments? Yes, ma'am.
What was the level for number 22?
The level for 22 is level 2.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any others?
If not, thank you all. Have a good rest of your afternoon. We'll see you next Monday.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Dan.